All right. Hello, Durud and Shalom. We be live. Hi.
Hello, hello.
Hi. Who are you and why are you here?
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Um, we came to see
Don't
Armin
move your
rage.
chair
This is
because
the
it's
rage
making a lot of
time.
sounds. Yeah.
What
Okay.
is?
Don't move your chair like that because that's
Oh, okay,
what's making the
okay.
sound. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go. All right.
Yeah. So many people probably came here expecting Armin to rage at people. Instead, they're raging at people, namely me. So my name's Guy. I'm part of the discussion group of Liberty Politics. A link over there. Um, And I am going to be talking within Liberty Politics and sometimes in live streams with Armin about the Israel angle of both geopolitics and also internally explaining Israel to other people, trying to do it as objectively as possible. Which means not that I don't have biases, but that rather that I would put my biases up front where I think it's relevant, and at least try to give you all sides of each argument before saying where I stand. And I've seen a lot of interest in this community with regards to Israel, and maybe many questions come up like who's Naftali Bennett. So you reviewed an interview between Naftali Bennett and Piers Morgan, so we can answer that, and like who are the political actors in Israel. We're about to come up. This is an election year. We're going to have an election either in September or October, and a lot of things are going to change, and there are a lot of relevant issues pertaining to Israeli society that would come up over the next few months. And even today, there was an interesting event that is going to reflect on a lot of it.
So, can you give us a list of the things that you want to talk about today? Because
Right. Yes.
there's a lot happening in Israel,
Right.
Lebanon, Iran. The elections are coming up. There's a the way that people are talking about it. It seems like there is like a lot of internal fighting going on over uh, Netanyahu and his popularity. So, what do
That
you
would have been a
what?
true statement at any point over the last almost 30 years.
Oh.
Um, Netanyahu has been a divisive figure within Israeli politics since since before, even more than 30 years ago. So we're not going to go through all of that today, but over time we're probably going to get to at least some of it. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? So we'll probably start with the geopolitical stuff pertaining to Lebanon and Iran, and we'll there is a couple angles there. One is the shouting match, quote unquote, between Trump and Netanyahu, and what likely happened. We saw both Trump and Netanyahu have come out on American media and mentioned some of what went on in that conversation, or some of what they wanted out regarding what went on in that conversation. So there's that conversation. There is what is so we yesterday had the chief of Mossad not resigned but finished his tenure and was replaced by a new one. And there was also some drama about that. Probably we're not going to get into all that today. But there are some interesting statements with regards to, so the former chief of Mossad wanted his deputy to become the new chief of Mossad, and eventually Netanyahu decided to bring in an outsider from the military, whom he trusts more. We'll talk about some of the likely reasons for that, and also Netanyahu over the last couple of years has dropped Easter eggs, very interesting Easter eggs, with regards to future plans. So, for example, right before Am Kelavi, which is Operation Rising Lion, in
Mhm.
June, he actually quoted the Bible verse where the phrase "Rising Lion"
Mhm.
is on the Knesset stage. and he's been throwing out like cheeky remarks here and there. So last week, 6 days ago to be exact, he put out another Easter egg in an internal meeting, meaning that allegedly wasn't supposed to leak, but then it leaked, and presumably he was also the one who leaked it. But there was an interesting statement there. It's a bit broad, but I can narrow it down to probably one of two things that he referred to, and potentially both. And then we'll talk about the time permitting. We'll talk about the interesting development today. So today, the Knesset, which is Israel's parliament, has elected a new comptroller, meaning like an internal reviewer, an internal a person who is in charge of providing a critical eye on what the government does and how it can improve.
Mm-hmm.
And there are two candidates. One, Yosef Elron, a former Supreme Court justice, who's considered like the most conservative Supreme Court justice. And the other is Netanyahu and Likud. So Likud is the party that Netanyahu belongs to. Oh, that's nice.
Let me get this changes.
I'll move a bit so that it's not hiding my head. And so one candidate was this Elron guy, who is impartial but comes from the Supreme Court. The other is Rabilio, who is Netanyahu and Likud's personal lawyer, who is a bit less impartial. Let's put it that way. So and eventually what happened is that Rabilio, the lawyer, was elected, and this has interesting implications for bigger debates going on in Israel about judicial reform and the place of parliament and how much power it should have, without whether it should have no restraints, some restraints, which restraints, and that's a whole like topic of conversation. And the way I phrase it now actually points to the opposite of direction of where I usually. So like Israeli listeners would probably say, "Oh, well, by the way he phrased it, he's against judicial reform." I'm actually not. In fact, my wife used to work at Kohelet Policy Forum, who put the initial judicial reform offer together. But we'll get to that in due time. I think we'll start with the broader topics.
Okay. So what's the first one that you want to tackle right now? Let's do one at a time, because there's a lot. And maybe we should focus on the most important things that is happening in Israeli politics, and then we move. And if it can't cover all of them, then we'll do it in the next session. But what is the most important thing right now that is changing the history of Israel and how it does politics, and it's going to be the most consequential for the future of Israel and the region? And what is feeding into it? What is this thing like? If you had to pick one thing right now.
So the obvious thing is the war against the Islamic regime, and because obviously if the regime falls, everything changes, and Israel becomes much stronger, and also can save like $100 billion yearly or something along those lines on security concerns that are just like invested in stopping the Shiite threat and the proxies of the Islamic regime. But that is also something that you talk about a lot from other angles. So I'll try to bring in the most interesting internal angle on that. Like, for example, the changing of the chief of Mossad, and also what is likely going to happen in the future based on what we can say right now.
So if the Islamic Republic's falling or not falling in the next, let's say, couple of months, how would each one of them impact Israeli politics right now? Like, let's say Islamic Republic falls within the next few months, and then the Islamic Republic doesn't fall within the next few months. How does that impact Israeli politics, internal Israeli politics, and in what way and why?
Okay. So it kind of depends on who you ask, but I think that if the regime falls and Pahlavi returns, and then you have the Cyrus Accords, I don't see a way that Netanyahu isn't reelected and with a large margin, because it's such a huge shift geopolitically that he has promised. So on October 8th, 2023, the day after the biggest massacre in Jewish history since the Holocaust, Netanyahu has promised that he is going to change the Middle East. And so far, his detractors would say that he hasn't actually managed to do that. Now, I disagree. But the claim would be, well, Hamas is still in Gaza. Hezbollah is still in Lebanon. They're weakened, sure, but we haven't actually managed to convert any of the military successes. So our military is great. Everyone agrees. It's one of the best militaries in the world. But the political echelon's job would be to convert the military successes into geopolitical, long-lasting successes in the diplomatic field. And so far, what has happened is Hamas has been greatly degraded and all the hostages returned, which I think Netanyahu isn't being given a lot of credit for, although some people would say, well, he is responsible for them being hostages in the first place, and he delayed bringing them back because he wouldn't do a deal and then people argue about the reasons. And that's its own debate. We're probably not going to get into that today, but there's plenty to talk about for future conversations. And right now, Hamas is still in Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
In Lebanon, we have greatly degraded their abilities, but Hezbollah is still in Lebanon, and they are still stronger than the Lebanese military, which also has some Hezbollah affiliated, let's say, people in it.
So the frustration with Netanyahu in Israel is that Hamas is still there, Hezbollah is still there, the Islamic Republic is still there. That's the frustration with Netanyahu.
That's the local, if you can call it, to this war. The greater frustration is many people think he is corrupt and he doesn't actually care about the good of the country, and because he also has a corruption trial that's been ongoing for several years now. And the claim would be that whatever he does to avoid the trial, and then
how common is it? So which one? So for people, so two questions. The first one is from the people in Israel who are against Netanyahu. How much of that is because of the corruption that they think Netanyahu has, and how much of it is because of the Islamic Republic still being there, Hamas still being there, and Hezbollah being there? Which one? Which one is a bigger deal to the Israelis?
Okay, so to me, so here I'm going to have to bring my own personal opinion into it. I think it has very little to do with anything that happened over the last 2 years. I think whatever argument is made about the last 2 years is because, some people change their opinion in either direction, by the way, over the last 2 years about Netanyahu. But most of it, like 80 to 90%, is people have already made up their minds about Netanyahu well before that. And then you just have new ammunition that you use for why Netanyahu is the worst prime minister of all time, or why he's the savior of Israel, or why something in between.
Okay. And what feeds to that over all of these years is mostly the corruption claims?
No, the corruption claims is also one of those ammunition things.
So what is the main thing then?
The main thing, depending on lefty? Yes. Being what?
Is it being lefty? Is that the main reason?
No.
Then what is the main thing then?
Okay, so the main thing I would say is the opposite, being right wing and being in power. So the left wing in Israel, or let's say the center left, So the left wing are the peaceniks, the people who are
No,
actually
so
believing.
before you go into detail, if
Yeah.
you had to say in one sentence, what is the main thing that drives the people who are against Netanyahu in Israel? If we had to pick one thing, what would be that main thing? That all of the corruption and Hamas and Hezbollah and Islamic Republic still surviving feeds into that. But you're saying there's this foundational view that people have against Netanyahu that is not because of those two things. Those just add to that. But what is that then? What is that main thing?
Yeah. So I agree with what Kat is saying in the chat, and also Jewish Samantha is expressing what I expected, basically her to mention. I'll try to talk about both of those things. In one sentence, it would be that Netanyahu is the representative of the Mizrahi, which is like the Arab or originating peoples that came to Israel. So Jews of Arab descent, quote unquote, but that came from Arab countries, and he's the representative of them and the religious Jews, and of them and their interests and their geopolitical views.
Wait, so the main problem with Netanyahu is that he's a representative of religious Jews and Mizrahi Jews?
Yes, even though he himself is secular Ashkenazi.
So he's secular Ashkenazi. So are you saying that, wait, is this a race issue then? Like Ashkenazi people are upset that he represents Mizrahi Jews?
So this is where my personal opinion. So again, this would be like people who are against him might phrase it differently, but I think at the end of the day, there's what's called it's culture, because you can have Mizrahi Jews who are on the other side, and they're so Eisenkot, now one of Netanyahu's opposition figures, is a Mizrahi Jew himself, but it's about like being part of the hegemony.
I thought the whole Ashkenazi versus Mizrahi thing in Israel was kind of over. It's still there?
Under the surface, there are aspects of it that are still there, and it doesn't have to be along those lines. But it is, Kat is basically, I agree with Kat. It's elitism. It's about who.
So you're saying you're saying there's a secular Ashkenazi population in Israel that consider themselves to be elite, and they consider the religious Israelis and these Mizrahi Israelis to be beneath them, and Prime Minister Netanyahu represents them more than they want.
That's too coarse of a way of putting it, but it's like it's in the right direction, I would say.
This is making me a bigger fan of Netanyahu so far, by the way, but go on.
So later today, we'll make you less of a fan of Netanyahu.
But you are a fan of Netanyahu, right?
No. I've never voted for him. And as things stand right now, if the regime falls, I might not have a choice but to vote for him. But as things stand right now, I'm also not going to vote for him in the coming election. That said, I'm also not going to vote for. Okay, so we'll see.
Well, let's get back on track. Be as objective as you can, though, regardless. For now, but before you give us your own opinions, let's try to be objective here.
So it's too late. I'm already giving my own opinion because if you want me to give, it's a bigger analysis of what is the reason that people hate Netanyahu so much. So I would get into the shoes of someone from the opposite camp, and they would say it's not about race. It's not about Mizrahi versus Ashkenazi. By the way, for people who don't know, Mizrahi are the Arab-born or Arab descendant Jews, and Ashkenazi is the European descendant Jews. And it's not about that per se, but it's about being one would be a good person. So like not someone who spits on the street and yells and stuff like that, not someone who's loud and abrasive. Another is in terms of like Palestinians. So do you want, for religious reasons, what they call messianic reasons, to control over the whole of the land of Israel from the river to the sea? Like, do you want, and then what do you want to do? Do you want to send the Arabs who are there away? Do you want to make them subservient or lower level of citizenship where they can't vote, which would be undemocratic? Do you want to give them the right to vote, in which case you're risking turning Israel into a binational state and actually losing its Jewish identity? Because, like, any way you slice it, Israel owning the West Bank, which now has several million Arabs in it, creates a problem for a liberal secular democracy.
So
another
wait,
thing
so
is,
how does this relate to people hating on Netanyahu?
So Netanyahu is representative of the people who do want to control those areas.
Oh, and
those would
the
be
secular Ashkenazi Jews don't want that.
Yeah, historically, that's roughly the case. Ever since, so this split was created in the 90s.
Okay, so this goes much deeper than like, so like this is separate from Hezbollah, Hamas, and Islamic Republic military success or failures. This goes separate from Netanyahu's corruption cases. This goes deep into the identity of Israel and what Israelis think Israeli should be. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And
okay.
there's there are shifts demographically within Israel, because the Ashkenazi, the old guard, who built, in their eyes, we built the country, we made it what it is. The historically, like, labor voters and the old labor. So, like, and labor nowadays is pretty much dead, but also because people are not really as socialist as they were, although, like, that's shifting. I'll try to focus. But the old labor voters who came from Europe, who built a lot of the kibbutzim, which are socialist communes.
So why are we talking about them? Socialist commune people?
So they're the old guard. They are, in their mind, they built the country, but now they're not having enough kids, and they allowed, like, those Mizrahi Jews to come in. They brought them in by boats with and with special operations and stuff, and then in 70, I think it was 77, that was the first time Likud went into power. Likud was always the party. It was the right-wing party, the capitalist party, and the party that represents those ethnic minorities.
You're saying the socialist Israelis brought in the Mizrahis that took away power from them and gave it to Likud. So the Mizrahi Israelis that came into Israel because of the socialists letting them in, that strategy backfired because they largely voted for Netanyahu and are responsible for the growth of this party.
Yeah, I mean, one second, I want to highlight. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. He's putting too much on race, not enough on Bibi. I'll get to that. The question right now was what caused the rift, and there are things that came after the fact that now. So many right wingers don't like Netanyahu as well, and today was an excellent example of why. But if you're asking me about the deep analysis for why this is happening, I think that's the issue. People that Netanyahu is representative of their country going to shit, for them, becoming this messianic thing that's not different than any of the other peoples of the area that are like Durka Durka. Essentially, okay, the best way to say it is they think that the Durka Durka are taking over Israel, and Netanyahu,
the religious maniacs are taking over because of Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's an Ashkenazi secular Jew who's betraying his own kind. He's betraying secular Ashkenazi Jews. And
it's a bit more complicated than that, because Likud has always been a minority opinion for, like, historically for those people. Up until 77, they always had some Ashkenazi voter base, and some Ashkenazi, most of their representatives used to be Ashkenazi. But nowadays it's becoming less so. And Netanyahu was always part of Likud. It was always part of that strand. but
So
he has,
this sounds
yeah.
like so much elitism. Doesn't sound like these people like, oh, like he's our country used to be civilized. This sounds like leftist elitism and academic, the exact very type of people who are like, I don't know, these low level people are taking over the country, and like we are these sophisticated, rich, secular minded, academically minded people that think that the masses don't get it, and he's just like opening the door to these barbarians, like either the Mizrahi, which is basically to them same as like basically not. Do they have this understanding the Mizrahis are not really Jewish because they came from Arab countries anyway? Is that like
No,
a
no, no, no. That's
thing?
not. No,
No.
that's not a thing. No, absolutely
Okay.
not. And in fact, so people are rightly saying in the chat. So Roni Shamai. So right now, oh, sorry, wrong one. The religious have worse racial elitism. Sort of true. Depends on which religious people. There's also like a putting of religious people in the same like bucket, where you have many different strands. But so right now in the chat we have Amir, who I know despises Netanyahu, and Roni, who also has the same kind of opinion. And I'll try to do my best to give like
Guys,
your.
I'm learning here. Okay, if I get it wrong, don't get upset with me. I'm trying to understand what's going on. Okay.
So like the most overt racism is in the ultra orthodox communities, which are part of this bloc of Netanyahu's like religious national bloc. At least historically, that might change in the coming election, which is an interesting development from the last like few days. But they have like, you have the Ashkenazi schools and you have the Mizrahi schools, and only the elite of the elite of the elite of the Mizrahi schools manage like to get into the Ashkenazi schools. And we all agree running. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I just highlight sometimes. Thank you, BT. Thank you. And guys, I will read the super chat soon. Okay, so I see super chats coming, and we will respond to them soon. Okay, so I think I have a little bit of understanding, but so do you think that Netanyahu's performance has nothing to do, like have very little, like his? So are you suggesting that his corruption? So I mean, the alleged corruption, and you tell me later if you think the corruption accusations are justified or not. And the accusations that he has been weak against the Islamic Republic, Hamas, and Hezbollah, does that at all contribute to his reduced popularity, or are those just excuses?
I'm not sure he actually has much reduced popularity. We'll see in the coming election, but the polls have been all over the place, and depending on who you trust. So first of all, the fact that he was his popularity has been gnawed at for a while now. So before this latest government, we had that's a lot to get into. Okay, so before the last two governments, the last government was not his, but it leaned on a lot of people who voted, assuming that he will get the votes. Like there was a party that changed sides against its own promise to its voter base, which caused the previous government to be able to come into power. And before that, we had like 5 elections where no side was able to get a majority. And the reason that this time Netanyahu was able to get a majority is because of so Israel is a parliamentary democracy, meaning that we have parties that.
So I think we're getting into too much detail. Is his popularity being reduced or not? Like, is it like you think? No,
not recently. I think so. It's really hard to say because this government, there just so much has happened. October 7th, and then before October 7th, you had judicial reform, and like there was not a single moment of peace internally for the duration of this government. The people who don't like it call it Memshalet HaChurban, which is like the government of destruction, or it's Churban is like it harkens back to the fall of the temple. Churban is like Churban Abayit, which is the fall of the temple. So
I
this
think
is the
we're also
government that
we're moving away from the question again a little bit. Again, like you're saying that his popularity has been hasn't changed for in the recently, and like what is your but it has dropped before, like when is the time, like, and why, like what is the main contributor to his popularity dropping, and when did this happen, and how do you know that it hasn't changed recently?
I don't know that it hasn't changed recently. I'm saying that
Mm.
the polls are all over the place and it's hard to say.
Okay.
It's two things probably contributed to his popularity falling from both sides. Um, Actually, okay, three things. One, the corruption charges, which
Mhm.
the trial is still ongoing. It's been
Do you think
going
they're
for.
justified? Do you think he's corrupt?
I think he is corrupt and they're not justified.
You think
Um,
he's corrupt and the accusations are not justified?
yes.
How?
I'll explain that. So I'll go through the three things and then I'll explain that. Um, the other is he has made a deal, like a deal with the devil, Q Barbad, with the ultra orthodox, and he has been giving them um, a lot of funds and funding their lifestyle, which is that's going to be a major point of this upcoming election. To stay in power, or to be able to stay in power, and then you can justify that also. Either A, it's right to do that, or B, in order to be able to enact his policy, he has to make some tough choices, and you can't have a perfect politics. But in
Do
order
you?
to stay in power, he
Mhm.
had to they're essentially subsidized continually by the state. They get way more in social welfare than the taxes
That
that
has
they
been
contribute. Because,
unpopular by most Israelis. They
yes,
find that it. Okay. Okay. What about
yes,
you? Do you find that does that concern you?
it does. Um, I'm not sure what the right way to solve it is, but now there's a consensus even among Likud voters that this cannot continue in the way that it has been going. Partially because, like, since October 7th, you had so many people doing reserve duty, myself included, for hundreds and hundreds of days, and then these ultra orthodox have
Mhm.
they essentially they've been exempt from serving in the military for many years.
Is that Bibi's fault? Wasn't that the case already?
No,
Like, how is that Bibi's fault?
yeah, it was the case already, but he also blocked any attempts to change it.
Well, I thought I thought they're changing that in Israel. They're making it so that they
They
have
are
to serve.
so they're now there's too much of a consensus even among Likud voters that it has to change, and that's why the ultra orthodox are now not necessarily going to be in Netanyahu's pocket. At least not the Ashkenazi ones aren't. The Ashkenazi ones are also not Zionists, so they don't consider the Israel as the legitimate Jewish state because it's not according to religious law, and the Messiah hasn't returned yet. So is
Wait, the
technically
Ashkenazis is wait who? Who doesn't think? Who's,
the Ashkenazi ultra orthodox.
okay, so you need to add that in. You can't just
I did say that.
Ashkenaz. Oh, okay. I thought you said the Ashkenazis are not Zionists. So the
No, no,
Ashkenazi
no.
ultra orthodox. Okay, okay.
Yeah, the Ashkenazi ultra orthodox, they
Right.
don't see Israel as a
Yes.
legitimate state, and they refuse to be ministers for a long time because of that.
Right.
They were
Yes.
in the government, or in the coalition, but they were not in the government technically. They didn't hold portfolio.
Are they a big part of the Israel? I thought the non-Zionist Ashkenazis who are saying that Israel shouldn't be a government, I thought they're just a very small minority.
No,
They-
no. There are
oh,
people who refuse to even interact with Israeli with the Israeli politics at large. Those are a very small minority, but the religious the ultra orthodox Ashkenazis, and you have even then there are splits. You have the Gur and you have the Beles and like, but they're running together as one block, and in that block, um, a lot of them, at least the political echelon, the actual people, are changing their tune about Israel, but the political echelon does
okay.
not consider Israel a legitimate Jewish state.
Okay, so
It's a
so so
secular
so
state that
let
happens
me
to be a Jewish majority state.
let's paint a picture to see if we're getting things right, right? So there was already a division, against Netanyahu, for Netanyahu, that goes back a long time, and that is more about some deeper fundamental views in Israel
Societal,
about the
yeah,
what? Oh yeah, society,
so
about
like
the nature of
societal streams about
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 okay, about the nature of Israel. Okay, and this is basically there are three groups of people: secular Ashkenazi, ultra Orthodox people, and the Mizrahi Israelis, right? And so that was a more of a deeper thing that was there already from before, right?
yeah.
Coming more recently, the main issues are against Netanyahu is the concern that he is getting too close to the ultra orthodox, and is giving them funding, and he's passing policies that is very unpopular among most Israelis, including them not having to serve, right?
Yes.
So that is more recent. And then the
It's not.
third
It's not more recent that this has happened. It's more recent that it's become a problem electorally.
problem, because especially after October 7th, and
Yes.
Israelis noticing that everybody has to serve, but these people don't get to serve, like that being in it got a lot more attention, right? And then on top of that, we have the um, corruption cases, and then the basically the Islamic Republic still being in power, and Hamas still being an issue, and Hezbollah being an issue. Does that exhaust everything so far? All the points against people have against Netanyahu?
Yeah, I think
Most
so.
of
Like the Hamas Hezbollah still being in power is a recent development, but the larger claim is over the last almost 20 years that Netanyahu has been in power almost continuously. He has done the most to maintain the status quo, and you get it from both sides. He didn't do a two-state solution from that would be from the left, but he also didn't do enough to advance other things, Israel militarily, or either expand if you're really extreme, but mostly do stuff to regulate like West Bank and change stuff on the ground over there.
So he didn't do some okay. So I'm gonna quickly go through the super chats, and after I read the super chats, I'm wondering if you could ask based on the list that we have right now. And actually, I think we should add one more thing to the list. But based on the list that we have, I want you to see what is the best defense of Netanyahu on each one of those cases, because we now made the cases against them, and then let's go through the best defense for each one of them, and then also then your personal view on each one of them. Do you think that's a good way to
Yeah.
go about doing this? Okay.
Yes.
One thing that we forgot. Yeah.
So we haven't actually mentioned this. I'm going to be part of the Liberty Politics umbrella along with. So we have Ali now, and now I'm also joining in. This stream is also on my channel, and you're all invited to subscribe. I'm going to be making videos about Israel from many different perspectives. If you think that would be interesting to you, then by all means go and subscribe to my channel. And we're also live on my channel right now.
This is Guy's channel. So the link is in the chat. The link is in the description. I think so. Guys, can you check if the link is in? I think the link is also in the description. I'll double check. I think it is. Yes, it is. The link is in the chat. The link is also in the description. Go subscribe to Guy's channel right now. Yes. Every time we go live, we will promote your. So guys, Guy is at 150 right now. So let's get him to 1,000 so he could monetize his channel. Okay. So let's and then, yeah, guys, look at us. Our army is growing. We recruited Ali, and now we recruited Guy. So Ali will be focusing on Iran. Guy will be focusing on Israel. So next we need United States and UK. We're going to try to aim for specific segments that is focusing on US politics. and specific segments that we're going to focus on UK politics. So this is what Liberty eventually, guys, the goal is eventually to have 24/7 live streaming going on, so that every time there's two goals, right? So that every time you come to Liberty Politics YouTube channel, at every time you could participate in a live show that is focusing on politics, but also we want to have 24/7 group calls as well at some point, so that if you're part of our discussion community, which you could get to by scanning the QR code, if you there's at every hour of the day there's a group call that you could participate in and talk politics. That's the eventual goal, but we're not there yet. We need to recruit more people until we get there, right?
But I will be hosting segments myself as well there, so you'll be
Yes.
able to come and ask me about Israeli politics
Yes.
as well.
And guys, you see the blue QR code? If it's blue, that's basically Guy's affiliate link. Okay. If it's red, there's no affiliate link. If it's yellow, is Guy's affiliate link. Sorry, it's Ali's affiliate
Ali.
link. Ali's affiliate link. If it's blue, it's Guy's affiliate link. So you could join the discussion group. And if you become a premium member or VIP member, that also supports Guy, by using those affiliate links, right? So yeah, great. So let's go through the super chats and then we'll come back to you answering those questions. Oh no, before the super chats, one thing that we forgot to add to the list is, on top of all of this, we also have the claim that Netanyahu can't make decisions on himself, and he's basically, excuse my language, people in Israel are saying that he's turning into Trump's bitch. And right, is that that's being is that another?
Yeah, that's part of the umbrella of Netanyahu is unable to make to change the status quo. Like he's afraid. The claim he's not really a leader. He's afraid to make bold decisions, which has been. So a lot of people who hated him have changed their tune about that since October 7th. Like, well, this is not who Netanyahu always pretended to be. Now he's suddenly, after October 7th, deciding to be that, like to grow a set, basically.
To grow a pair. Okay. So okay. So guys, we heard all the accusations against Netanyahu. We're gonna, after we read the super chats, we're gonna see what Guy thinks the best defense of Netanyahu is on each one of these claims, and then after that, we'll see what Guy's own opinion on each one of these claims are. Okay. Okay. So let's go with Amir. Thank you so much, Amir, for the super chat, saying Netanyahu is Stalin without death penalty punishment. What does that, Guy? Do you know what is he referring to? I don't know.
I know what he's referring to. I highly disagree.
Explain to us.
So I'm sorry, Amir, but this is a very low level analysis in my mind, which is Netanyahu is a dictator. Basically, that's a claim that has been peddled for many of those years. He's a dictator because he's illiberal. He's not liberal enough. That equates to not being democratic. And then, like, what definition of democracy are you using? That's a big thing for judicial reform. And then he's a dictator. He's either actively being a dictator or he's trying to become a dictator, like getting all the power and turning Israel into trying to become Putin or Stalin or whoever. Choose your favorite. Erdogan. Erdogan is a big comparison point because Erdogan started being a democratically elected leader, but over time is not at the state's apparatus for like the checks and balances and so on. Over time became an absolute ruler and is now jailing opposition leaders. So we're not there yet, but the claim is he is trying to get there.
Interesting. Okay, it's interesting to see so many Israelis being against Netanyahu while so many Iranians are pro Netanyahu. This is, by the way, a lot of Iranians are confused by this. A lot of Iranians assume that, a lot of Iranians love Netanyahu, and then once they learn that so many Israelis hate Netanyahu, they're shocked. They're like, but why? Like, he's so amazing. So like on the Persian channel, so many Iranians are asking me, like, what's wrong? Why don't Israelis get how great of a leader they have? Right? So So many Iranians are confused by this. So, I'm like, oh, it's their internal politics. Okay, but the good thing is that the Israelis who are anti Netanyahu, most of them understand why Iranians are pro Netanyahu. Okay, so that's a
Yeah,
good thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair.
yeah,
Even though they might not like it, but they understand that
right.
Netanyahu. Okay, he's been banging on about Iran. Now, some of them would say he hasn't actually done anything about it, but he's been banging on again before this last, let's say, year. This last year was when he
Netanyahu
actually
should
started
come
doing
run
things
in
about it.
Iran, maybe as a politician
Yeah,
if
so
you're.
he should go to Iran. Trump should go to Israel. And I don't know how well Pahlavi would do in America, but we can do
Oh
like
no, we're not giving Pahlavi will or I can't. So apparently, among these three leaders, the only one that will do very good in his own country is Pahlavi. So
yeah.
yes, right,
Yeah,
okay,
who's not divisive in his own country.
right, yeah. All right, so let's go to Lior. Lior is saying, can you compare BB's policies with Ariel Sharon?
Yes, I can. So a lot of people from the right who dislike Netanyahu like to compare him to Sharon. So Sharon was the prime minister, the head of Likud before him, and he was head of Likud. Then he sort of left in disgrace in the 90s, at the end of the 90s. Then Sharon replaced him, became prime minister in 2002, and he was originally considered a very very hawkish, but he also initiated the disengagement from Gaza in 2005, which some of his voters saw as a betrayal. He then left Likud and started Kadima, which is like forward. So we have left, right, and forward. So that was supposed to be like a centrist party with people from both camps. He started a government with that led to the disengagement. Or sorry, the disengagement I think happened before that, but he was going to continue making bold moves, let's say, for geopolitically, and a lot of right wingers didn't like that. Netanyahu himself, well, he voted for it tacitly. He was also
So let's go through these faster because there's more
okay.
pictures. Yeah, okay. No, okay. But yeah, go on, finish your thought.
Netanyahu was part of the coalition that voted for this, but he was against it most of the way. He was sort of, okay, I have to, and if I quit, it's going to pass anyway. So at least I'll be a good economic minister. And
but this is mostly about the disengagement from Gaza, right? Like that's basically the summary of it.
In general, they would say that Sharon would have been bolder, but at the same time, Sharon also did the disengagement, which is like a left-wing move.
Which is what the disengagement caused October 7th.
That's what most of the right is saying. Yeah, that's the right-wing perspective on it.
So on that, I would say Netanyahu wins because Ariel Sharon basically gave up on Gaza, which caused, the greatest threat against Israel to be created in Gaza. So he's responsible for that.
Yes, at the same time, there were good reasons for the disengagement in terms of there were a lot of soldiers who died from the perspective of the center left in order to protect these Messianic Jews who live there illegally, and were trying to expand Israel's borders and mesh us with the Palestinians as opposed to separating us from the Palestinians.
Okay. Jewish Samantha has a comment on this saying Ariel Sharon actually cares about the safety of Israelis. And that she thinks Netanyahu doesn't. Do you think Netanyahu doesn't care about? Does Netanyahu care?
No. I think Netanyahu does care, and I think people trying to mind read they do it with Trump as well. When you have TUDS and BDS, which is a great acronym, the fact that it's BDS for Bibi derangement syndrome, you can't read a person's mind, and a lot of people like to do that and then assume that what they think that they're thinking is actually the case. And just not notice that I'm actually projecting a lot onto the situation.
Okay, so you think BDS is there? So you yourself are not supporting Netanyahu, but you think some people go too far and they have a BB derangement syndrome.
Yes, I'm not against Netanyahu either. I think he's a complex character, and I'll try to present that complexity.
Okay, great. So let me go through the super chat so we could hear that opinion. And then we have Amir. Thank you for the super chat. You want to read this? I don't know how to pronounce
Yes.
that.
Inon Magal, parentheses, chosen by Bibi and used unofficially as his simp, which is factually not true. Inon Magal has attacked Netanyahu for decisions many times as well, but he's the most representative of the average Likud voter. I would say that, but I don't think he's not a paid. So people called a lot of people on the right are called paid shills in the media, and I think that's what he's referring to here. From Channel 14 said the October 7th is because of traitors Rabin and Sharon. It's just like
no. Read it fully. Read it fully because people don't.
So
from Channel
Inon Magal for Channel 14 says the October 7th is because of the traitors Rabin and Sharon. It's just like Russia. I'll explain what. Yeah. So Rabin was the prime minister in '94 that was murdered, assassinated in '95 when he was in the middle of the Oslo peace accords that were supposed to create an independent Palestinian state in the West Bank and Gaza.
They were singing Shir La Shalom. What is that thing?
Shir La Shalom, a song for peace.
Shir La Shalom, yes.
And Sharon also did, and Sharon practically did the disengagement from Gaza, and I don't think I heard him call them traitors. I think you're mixing a bunch of stuff up. But he has that is the right wing point of view that the main reason for October 7th is because of the disengagement. If we hadn't done the disengagement, and I think Armin also on the surface agrees with this.
Yeah, I don't think Rabin and Sharon are traitors. I don't think they were like trying to betray Israel. I mean, so I think that's an exaggeration. I just think that the disengagement from Gaza is what allowed to Hamas to become Hamas. I mean, isn't that fact though? That's fact, isn't it?
It's fact. It's part of the facts. Like there are many things that happened over the last 20 years that caused October 7th.
It's one of the factors. And so you're saying that this guy is not Bibi's simp because he criticized Bibi many times. That's what you're saying.
Okay. So he's Bibi's. He is a staunch supporter of Netanyahu, but he's not a paid shill, which is usually what people like to.
Also, you're saying he didn't specifically say that Rabin and Sharon were traitors. Did he say that or did he not?
No, not only so. Inon Magal, I highly doubt, said this. He might have said it about Sharon, but again, in the sense that Sharon betrayed the right, because he used right-wing votes to cause the disengagement.
Okay, all right.
But not traitors to the country. And in fact, for Rabin, there's a clip that should be famous but isn't. So because people keep saying Netanyahu incited violence against Rabin, and there's a famous clip famous. If you're not in,
I've seen it with the tomb.
No, so that's the one that the tomb is not Rabin's tomb.
Let's go into more details later on this because, but just we could talk about this. But yeah, short.
In one sentence, Netanyahu specifically said to a rowdy crowd who were chanting "Boged, Boged," which is like traitor, traitor. He said, "No, he's not a traitor. He's not a traitor. He's a political opponent, and he's wrong, but he's not a traitor."
He said that.
He said that in the 90s to a very high.
Oh my God! I did not know that. So the accusations
it's not known.
Wow. Okay, so the accusation that Netanyahu is responsible for Rabin dying is baseless, then, in your opinion.
So you could the best you could argue is that he was too staunch in his apocalyptic vision for what would happen with Oslo, and that would have but if that in terms of being actually on the fact that he was too apocalyptic about what would happen, and as a result, people took the law into their own hands.
But it's so indirect that I think it's baseless to say oh, you're responsible. Because if he's responsible, then I can't talk about my political opponents ever, just in case somebody might kill them and they're like, holy shit, I'm responsible. I think that is too much to blame Bibi for that. And look at this, guys. Israeli Amir is saying, I didn't know that. Amazing. So that means that.
There you go. I'm going to find the clip and we'll play it for
Okay, that means that this is educational for Israelis as well, guys. Look at the thank you, Amir, for telling us. Oh, this is we're going high level here. Okay, all right. This is why we have Guy here, guys. Go support Guy's YouTube channel because this is the again. Let me bring this up again. Go support Guy's YouTube channel because this is the level we're gonna get advanced. You know how we're advanced in Iranian politics. Okay, we want to get that level of detail and nuance in Israeli politics as well. So I'm gonna put the link to Guy's channel in the chat. Go subscribe. Let's get him to 1,000 subscribers fast. Okay. Let's go.
Are there any other super chats?
Yes, that's why we need to go through them faster so that
Yeah,
we could get to your okay. And thank you guys for all the super chats. Okay, okay. And Amir, I hope you don't get upset that Amir is an admin and he's like such a big supporter of the show. I hope you could I hope you don't get upset with Guy disagreeing with you. Okay, Amir. The other Amir. I know Dr. Elliot Amir is okay with these stuff, right? Amir, you're okay? You're good? We're good? All right. User ZV1 is saying, explain how Soros corrupted Israel with, what is that? Something with his, something media. What is that?
I think purchased.
No, no, the other Amir. We have two Amirs here. No, Nare. Yeah. Well, with his purchase media. Okay. Short answer to this.
I actually don't know. I don't know enough about. So Soros has some connections in Israel for like NGOs and stuff, but I don't know about. I don't know about specifics enough to say something that's worthwhile.
Okay. All right. So we don't know. We'll look into it. We'll look into it. Oh, you have the clip?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to share? You want to share?
We can do it now or after the super chat's up to you.
Okay, after the super chat. Okay. Sarah is saying, was Bibi aware that his government was in cahoots with Qatar in funding Hamas?
That's a lot of fake news. That's like, there's a lot. That's one of the accusations that people in his cabinet, or not in the prime minister's office, colluded with Qatar with regards to Hamas. So and it's a combination of several things. One, there were people in his office who did media work for Qatar during the World Cup, because they're media people. And then they remained on retainer, but it was indirect. So the person in his office worked for a media company. That media company worked for Qatar, and he remained on retainer for the media company after the World Cup. That does not mean, and there is no evidence to show, that this person has continued working for Qatar after that. You also had other people from the other political side working for Qatar, quote unquote, at the same time, like promoting the World Cup. And there are also Israeli-Qatar relationships. Unfortunately, it's complex. Like now, people basically agree that we should cut all ties with Qatar because of everything they're doing. But it wasn't a clear-cut case of they're an enemy state and we can't work for them. This is combined with the fact that Qatar has given a lot of money to Hamas while Netanyahu was in power, through which was aimed at food and like humanitarian aid. But at the end of the day, it came in through unmarked notes, just briefcases of dollars.
We should have an entire show dedicated to talking about this. The short answer is that you think this is baseless, but in one of the segments that we do together, we will address this accusation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a bigger topic that needs more.
Yes.
Unraveling.
Okay. So guys, this is why you should subscribe, because we're going to go into more details about each one of these. And then we have Amir again. Amir, are you okay? Like, is he here? Did he leave? I don't want to. Oh no, Amir is gone. Okay. All right. I don't want to. Okay. So Amir saying soon it'll be impossible to arrest Bibi. He's working now on crumbling the court legitimacy. No, that's not true.
That's a much bigger topic. This is a very staunchly partisan take. I'll say that much. That's one side of the argument, is convinced that this is reality. I am not of that opinion. I'll try to present it as best as I can. Again, not now, because it's a bigger point of where I will get. I was actually going to talk about the judicial reform and why
That would
like
need
it's
its
related
that
to
would
that.
need its
Yeah,
own
its
show.
own.
That
Yeah.
would need its own show. Okay, we could get to that. Okay. So because that's a big topic, the judicial reform in Israel and the
Yeah.
disagreements of that is like that requires, we can't just talk about that for 5 minutes. We need to figure out.
Yeah. It
Yes.
requires more. So I
Okay.
understand why he's saying it. I disagree with him. But at the same time, there are moves that are self-serving that Netanyahu is making, just not in terms of like the case, the judicial case against him is crumbling. And so you have one side of the news talking about all the days that his court dates have been moved, and then they say, oh, he's making excuses to delay the trial. Usually it's for legitimate reasons. And then the other side is actually presenting what's being presented in court, which is the cases are crumbling by any objective measure. If you actually look at what's being presented and what's going on, like the cases don't stand up to scrutiny. The specific cases, I do think he's done problematic things that just weren't illegal.
Okay, we'll get into that in more detail in another show. Okay, and then BTV, you want to read this one? Thank you, BTV.
Yes. Let me get this straight. Left in the West pours into social welfare, keeping minorities dependent for votes. Fine by them. Bibi funding social welfare programs, unacceptable by the left. First of all, there is a lot of the Israeli left is very small. The actual like left, as you think of left that you see in the West, it has died out more or less. Now, and it's also in Israel, it's not really about economics. Many people agree on both sides that the situation with the ultra-Orthodox is unmaintainable, in part because, and this is not something that you have in the West, they're growing. Their population is growing exponentially because every couple has like 6 children on average. And so this is not sustainable on a country level, that you have a working class, and a working class is anyone who gives more taxes than they take in this case, that is supporting financially a growing minority that is either not working or working minimum wage jobs, but has 6 children that require political support. So it's too different of a comparison to be able to make effectively.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And thank you, BT, for your super chat. And then we have another Amir super chat, which I'm not, he's not here to even see the response to. Hopefully
this
he's
is
okay.
recorded, so we'll be able to, Bibi hiding what went wrong in October 7th, FYI. So FYI meaning, so that implies that Amir knows what happened on October 7th that is being hidden. So I'll make the claim, okay? And if Amir ever has a problem with this, he can. Yeah, we've chatted a bit. He has ways of contacting me, at the very least on Liberty Politics, if he thinks I'm misrepresenting his position here. So the claim is security cabinet. The judicial reform was ripping Israel apart internally. And as a result, people thought, well, Israel is not going to be a democracy anymore. I can't trust people from military people. I can't trust my government when it's making decisions about like when I go to battle and for what causes. I don't want to fight and risk my life for an illiberal state, for a dictatorship or whatever, all the superlatives you want. And so people stopped volunteering to go into the army, and specifically pilots, because they have to volunteer, and it's a whole thing. And people, and this internal rift, people have warned Netanyahu that our enemies are planning attacks, and like you should be aware of that. There's a cost to what you're doing now with judicial reform. Here's the problem with that. And then okay, he didn't listen, and then October 7th happened. The problem with that is that they were talking about Lebanon. We're very much prepared for Lebanon, as is evident by Eid al-Beeper, when many Hezbollah operatives lost eyes, crotches, and fingers simultaneously in an insane Mossad operation. We're very much prepared for what was happening in the north. And that's what the people were referring to. If they weren't referring to that, then why was there no one there on October 7th? So Amir might say forces were diverted from Gaza to protect Messianic Jews in the West Bank. That unfortunately is false. I mean, not unfortunately, but that is false. That has never happened, and they came out, and everyone relevant denied it from the security echelon. And so
let's go through this fast, because we could do another show about what went wrong with October 7th and all the Israelis' reactions and criticism for it, and what the different theories are. We could dedicate another show entirely to that. Okay, so that's its own topic, right? That we could go into. Into guys, look at, like, we already have so many different with judicial reform, October 7th, Hezbollah, Hamas, what's happening in Gaza, the two-state solution. If you're for the two-state solution, if you're against the two-state solution, the strategy of Israel against the Islamic Republic, did it work? Did it not work? What is the criticism for that? The demographic change in Israel, the ultra-Orthodox growing, how is Israel going to change because of that, because of them having more babies? What does Israel's future look like? There's each one of these are their own specific show, and that is just what I can think of on the top, at the top of my head. So, and all of that will happen with Guy with a better mic. His audio is not going to be this bad, soon, right? There's a mic on the way, right? Yes,
the mic is on the way.
Yes,
help is on the way.
Great. Help is on the way. Fantastic. So, guys, we're gonna save your ears from all the boom boom sounds in the background. I'm just kidding. But the Guy has full control. Yes, Guy can. He said there was a question by Soapbox saying, "Does Guy know yet how to pull questions from viewers?" That yes, he can select. You know how to start them to save the ones that you want to.
So Dior, for example, is saying. So I just pulled this up. Audio is okay.
Oh, there you go. Good comeback. But do you know how to start them for that? You could save them for later. Try starting
how to
one.
Start them. Yeah, I can. Okay, so I just started something.
Yes. And I start a comment from
yeah.
Amir. Can you highlight Amir's comment that I start? Don't remove the start. Just highlight it. Go to the start section. It will take. It will put. No. Go to the start.
No, sorry for the late response. I'm really not mad. I love for each of us to have an opinion.
Okay. That's fantastic. Love you, Amir. Thank you. Okay, good. See, we guys, this is what we're trying to foster here. We're trying to have be friends. And
Amir is 5 minutes behind. That's why.
Okay. Okay. All right, love you, Amir. And then we got another super chat, and then we go to your responses regarding the best defenses for Netanyahu, and then your opinions on each one of those cases, right? Mm-hmm. So Casey's saying all Turks should be investigated. What is this? Do you know?
I don't know who Singham is. But this is I think it's the same. No, I don't know. I don't know who Singham is. I assume it's like a billionaire funding stuff. It might be Code Pink. I think Singham is Code Pink. I could be wrong about that. That's the guy who lives in China. Yeah, I think it's the. Okay. So Soapbox is saying, Armin, please link Guy's room in your chat again so people can like and subscribe.
Yeah, you mean his channel?
Yeah, I assume he means the channel.
Okay, so this is his channel, and here's the link. Oh, you're at 170 now.
Yep.
You're at 170. Okay, so guys, this is Guy's channel, and it's not just his channel. Also, so go subscribe to his channel, but you also get to come and talk to Guy on Liberty Politics. We haven't added his segment yet, but here's a link to our. We're gonna have group calls, all right? With you could join the group calls with instead of saying join the discussion, we should keep saying join the group call so people know that they could actually talk to people, right? So if you
Yeah.
join our discussion group, if you see in the calendar right now, you have uh segments where you could go talk to Ali, segments where you could go talk to me, but we haven't added. But we're gonna add segments where you could go talk to Guy, especially about Israeli. It doesn't have to be about Israeli politics. It could be about anything politics related, but you could also, with the understanding that Guy probably knows about Israeli politics than the rest of the people who are going to be hosting events here. So soon we're going to add Guy's own segments, and you could basically go into if you disagree with Guy, if you agree with him, or you have questions, you could go and directly talk to him. So yeah, the link to our discussion group where the group calls are going to be is in the chat.
So I want to respond quickly to a comment by Amir that's related to the previous to his super chat. No, I don't know what happened on October 7th. Bibi is not letting us research it. So, or what he's saying is that there's supposed to be a committee to research October 7th, and there is like what's called like a state committee, which is chosen by the head of the Supreme Court. That's like the default, but it's not legally binding that it has to be this way. And Netanyahu and the government has offered, because of how involved the Supreme Court, like the whole debate around the Supreme Court is in the lead up to October 7th. If you let the head of the Supreme Court, who in my opinion is highly partisan, this one specifically is highly partisan, choose the people who investigate it, you're not actually going to get a full investigation. What the government has offered, and there are claims that it's done in bad faith and so on, but I don't buy that. I don't buy that. So tell me, Armin, what do you think about this? This is the government's offer without any extra analysis on top of it. You have a government that's appointed by 50% of the investigators are appointed by the coalition, 50% are appointed by the opposition. And so you get all voices. The claim is that you get all voices represented in that committee that will investigate everything about October 7th. And again, they say, because the right wing says this, including and all the way up to the disengagement. Like, not just you can start investigating from the start of this government, or you can go all the way back and make. So there are claims that the judiciary has made it slowly nod at the deterrence capability of soldiers that are watching the border with Gaza, for example. And so they want that investigated as well. And if you have both the coalition and the opposition choosing the people in the committee that would do the investigating, you would get everything touched upon.
But I mean, I didn't like. It's kind of strange to me. Like, are you guys telling me that October 7th hasn't been investigated until now?
Not on a national level. So there are internal military investigations that were made, but not on like, who's responsible. Is Netanyahu responsible for October 7th and stuff like that? That has not happened yet. Whatever, it's either going to happen in this government, in which case it's going to be the 50-50 model, or the next government, in which case we'll see depending on who the next government is.
Okay, I need more details. Let's to be able to judge this, but we could do that in the October 7th episode that we're gonna do about this topic at some point. Yeah. Okay, we're running out of time, so I need you to quickly go over. And guys, thank you everybody for supporting us, for the super chats and everything. Appreciate that. And let's get Guy's YouTube channel to the point where he could also get super chats soon, get him monetized, right? So Guy, go through each one like quick, like if you as short as you can. Here are the accusations against Netanyahu that we came up with, and defend Netanyahu to the best of your ability on each one of these. Okay, so him not representing the religious ultra-Orthodox Jews, which is problematic. And I don't know, the Mizrahi, I don't even know why that's problematic, but whatever. I think that's a good thing. But then there's that. And then him, especially the ultra-Orthodox, because I think like I see what the concern over there is, right? What was the one after that in the middle? That was so him basically making the politics of Israel too religious, giving so many funding to the ultra orthodox people, not allowing them to not serve in the army, blocking any policies that would change that. So that was another thing. So his corruption cases, and then we have him being weak against Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Islamic Republic, and then him being controlled by President Trump and not being able to make
the same point.
Okay. Is there anything that I'm missing?
And you have the corruption. Did you talk about the corruption charges?
I did.
Okay. Okay. So I'll give the total like.
But by the way, if I go, I'm listening. Okay. I'm just gonna go. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm listening. Okay. Go ahead.
So in terms of him being representative of the religious and the Mizrahi Jews, that is not the accusation. That's not how they would characterize it. They would characterize it as he is being either controlled or is allowing the extreme right Messianic Jews to control him. And he's basically selling out the state of Israel to nut jobs, and or is a nut job himself, and is also like using the public money to keep the ultra orthodox support by giving them a lot of funds. So that would be the accusation first, and then the answer would be he is a right-wing politician. Some would say center right, some would say right. And he needs to keep a coalition together. Because Israel is a parliamentary democracy where you have to build coalitions, he does not get to to choose to the best, like to however he wants, what his coalition is. Historically, up until all of the left-wing parties, center left-wing parties, put a veto on sitting with him, or like refuse to sit with him, he would usually like to have one center or center left party at least in his government. So in 2012, he had Lapid and Livni. In 2015 was the first time that he didn't do that, but 2009 he had centrist parties. And also in the 90s when he was head of government, he had more center parties. In 2015 and in this government, those are the only two times where he had a full-blown right-wing government. And he had no choice, would be the defense of putting people like Ben Gvir, which to me is the biggest sin Netanyahu made, is make Ben Gvir into a viable political character. But he had no choice, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to lead the government, and it's life or death for him and his supporters, because if you let the left control the country, then they would do the two-state solution, which is a security threat. Then you would have October 7th everywhere. Because if you look at the map of Israel, like if you have an October 7th style attack coming from the West Bank, it's basically you're getting all over Israel. That would be the defense.
Wait, so why would you have October 7th everywhere if he lost? Because
if you do a two-state solution, which is what some people on the left wanted to do, there's now very little support for it, especially not in the near term. Nice. But that was the fear. Like, if either I do this, or you're going to get a two-state solution, or the other side right now has to make a coalition with at least one Arabic party, in order to be able to start a coalition, and the Arabic parties are mostly very much against, Israel as a Jewish state. One party has become like a legitimate party to put in a coalition, actually by Netanyahu, but Netanyahu sort of christened it as being a legitimate partner.
Okay, so we have to go through them fast. So the first answer is, as bad as people like Ben Gvir are, in your opinion, the other side, if Netanyahu had to form a coalition with the other side, it would have been worse for Israel. So he had no choice.
Again, that would be the Netanyahu defense. That's not my opinion. That's me.
Oh, okay. Defending them.
Putting myself in the shoes of the.
Okay. So let's go through the other ones faster and then come to your position.
Okay. The other one was Netanyahu didn't do anything over the last 15 or so years since he's been in power. And the defense there would be, listen, he had to deal with the Barack Obama. He actually kept him in bay for 8 years, which is a huge accomplishment, because Obama would have done way worse without a leader who was with a leader who was less of a nuisance. Obama signed the JCPOA. Netanyahu fought that tooth and nail, and then fought to have it reversed. Even though he didn't succeed in stopping the JCPOA, he was one of the leaders. He was a big factor in the JCPOA eventually being in Trump leaving the JCPOA.
Okay.
And he didn't make any forward-looking moves because he wasn't in a position to do so. He had to maneuver politically across several different avenues.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
What was the next one? No, corruption.
Corruption, and then also giving it's one thing to make a coalition with people like Smotrich and Ben Gvir. It's another thing to keep on allowing them not to serve and also keep funding them. Or does that go hand in hand? Is that the same thing?
Okay, so there's a really important distinction. Not all, and that's why I said earlier, not all religious groups are the same. Smotrich and Ben Gvir, both of their sons are in the military. There's a difference between religious Zionists and the ultra-Orthodox. Religious Zionists think that Israel is the promised state by God, Israel in its current form. And
you need to be, so he built a coalition with the religious Zionists. Okay, then why does he have to keep funding and
the
supporting the ultra Orthodox? Like, you don't need them. You already have the right leaning religious coalition that you needed. So why is it no?
You don't.
Okay.
You have 120 seats in parliament. You need 61 to form a coalition. Netanyahu is around 30. Ben Gvir and Smotrich together are around 15. That's 45.
Okay. All right, but somebody's saying, Armin, you should talk with people also from the right. I mean, Guy, aren't you right from the right?
I am. So I told you, I made a conscious choice to not put a label on myself. But I can be fairly characterized as a good representative of the right. I would say.
Okay. Well, would other people label you as right leaning?
My leftist family does.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go to the corruption accusations. What's the best defense of Netanyahu there?
So Kat is saying, guys, too left wing. Other than the opposition to Ben Gvir, I've been trying to show all sides of the argument. There you go. So I've tried doing this, like showcasing, okay, this is what this side says, this is what this side says. And
right. I think Guy is perfect for these discussions. Like, he's not, I think he is the best person to talk. Like, he's not so very crazy, like I mean, not crazy, but he's basically right in the position to be able to see the perspective of all sides. I think he's in the right spot. I think I would, if I had, I mean, you don't want to be labeled. Should I label you, categorize you? I think you're
You can try,
center
and then
right.
I'll worst case scenario I'll refuse. I think center right, if I had to categorize myself, would be probably the closest.
Yeah, I think Guy is center right. Oh, Nara is characterizing you as level-headed. Yeah, that's
I try to be. I try to
yeah.
be. So okay. So quickly, because we all love Ron, but this guy is lefty. Love you guys still. Okay, so I made a conscious effort 10 years ago to stop being in a bubble. I used to be in a bubble. I noticed that I was in a bubble. Like, oh wow, I actually really care about truth. So actually pull up my channel, both as a plug and also because my mantra is there. So once you believe, you can see this under my handle. Once you believe you know the truth, you forfeit your ability to get any closer to it. This is something I live by. In philosophy, I really care about epistemology, which is the field of how do we attain knowledge, can we attain knowledge, what's knowledge, and stuff like that. And I really I read Channel 14 News, I read Israel Hayom, I read Ynet, I read, and I follow a bunch of different analysts from all sides to be able to at least explain well what the facts that each side claims are. And then on each specific topic, I would make a different decision depending on the best my best analysis in a way that very consciously tries to not be okay. Well, the side I'm on is saying this, so it must be true. And sometimes I would agree with the left. Sometimes I would agree with the right. Sometimes I would agree with the far right. Sometimes I would agree with the far left.
I personally think we have found the best person to explain Israel to us. I genuinely do, because even if you disagree with him, I think what Guy does very perfectly is steelman the positions that he disagrees with. Like, even if he doesn't have a position, he understands. He can explain to you what other people say in defense of the positions that he might not hold himself in Israel. That's why I think Guy is like, we basically found the best person to come and explain Israel to us, I think.
Now, as soon as I think I'm the best person, then I developed a blind spot. So I'll always try. I assume that I'm wrong on some points, and also you should assume I'm wrong on some points. But I'm doing my best.
No. But that's why you're the best person, because you're skeptical and you're not sure. That makes you the best person, because you're not married to a position and you're skeptical and you assume that you could be wrong. And that's why I think that you're the best person on this topic.
Yes.
Oh, look, Shauna is saying Team Guy. Oh, fantastic.
Thanks,
you.
Shauna. I'll give you the money I promised earlier after this.
Oh, wait. Let me read this one as well now that I read Shauna's super chat. Say, I hope that you reach your goals for liberty politics very soon. Rooting for you. I mean, oh, thank you. Fantastic. Well, I appreciate you saying that. And by the way, talking about reaching our goals, we got to 10 out of 10. Thank you so much. And thank you, Shauna, as well. All right. So, and by the way, guys, the good thing about working with Liberty Politics is that we help you grow your channel as well, so that you have your own, like, it's not just you joining Liberty Politics and helping Liberty Politics. Oh, this means I have to go soon. It's not just you coming to Liberty Politics and working with Liberty Politics and you growing Liberty Politics. It's also your independent channel separate for Liberty Politics grows with Liberty Politics. This is what we want to do for everybody who joins us. Okay, so let's go through the rest fast, because I need to go for Iran Revolution Live soon.
Yeah. Okay. So Netanyahu needs all these parties for the coalition. And like basically there's no choice, and he has, if you're in coalition, this is a very conservative take. Like, you can't think in utopian terms. You have to do the best with what you've got, and sometimes you make compromises that you're not a fan of, and you you need to be able to lead a coalition, and it's hard to do.
Okay, but corruption, quickly, defense of Bibi for his corruption
cases. Right. So corruption. So the corruption charges, this is the most right-wing take, are all trumped up. and as you can see, Israelis have a lot of opinions. Or Jews, actually. I think this was a non-Israeli Jew. But
that's a good thing. This is what I love
yeah.
about Israel. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I'll do my best to try to represent everything, and then if something is like just factually wrong, I'll say, listen, I looked into it to the best of my knowledge. This is factually wrong. So the corruption charges are a way to get rid of him by the institutions. And again, this is not my take. This is the right-wing take. And they never expected him to actually go on trial. And it was just a way to get him to resign while he is dealing with his political things, much like Olmert did. Olmert did end up being indicted. Actually, Olmert is the prime minister in 2008 before Netanyahu came into power.
So, guy, we could go into details on this a lot more in future shows regarding Netanyahu's corruption cases.
So that would be the defense. It's all trumped up, and now it's falling apart in trial. They never expected it to get to trial.
Okay. All right. So, guys, we will go over details on this regarding Bibi's corruption cases at some point in the future. Okay. Especially with the elections coming in Israel, this is going to be a hot topic, right? Yeah. What was left?
I think that's most of it. Now,
go on.
Some of the opposition to Netanyahu is, he also did this. He opened up the economy under Sharon. He was the Minister of Finances, and he led the capitalistic revolution for Israel. It used to be a socialistic.
My support for Bibi just increased significantly. Because
again, we'll do our best to. So there's, I think, two things worth talking about. So my opinion, getting into my opinion, would just take too long. I think I disagree. Okay. Finish politically. And instead, two things I want to talk about. One is to show the video that of Bibi saying that specifically he's not a traitor. Hold on. Share screen. Okay. Again, this is from the 90s, which is why the recording, this is like the mid 90s. Can you see my screen? Oh, I need to put it in the wait, I can't hear you now.
Sorry, my mic was muted. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. There you
go. Okay. And I hope my audio is being shared as well.
No, your audio is not being shared. You should have. Are you sure? Maybe send me the link. We could practice. I'll show you how to do that later. When you're sharing, did you share your tab?
No, I shared the window.
Okay, it's better
to share. I can share the tab. I can. Yeah. Okay.
And also make sure the audio is selected. Audio is.
Yeah, it says also share tab audio. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. There. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So I found it as a window. It's easier, but I also share system audio, so it should work now.
Okay. Let's add this. Okay, play it.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Okay. So this is in response to chants Rabin Boged, which means Rabin is a traitor. He's not a traitor. He's not a traitor. He's wrong. He's really wrong. And he will clear the way, and he will not be prime minister anymore in the election, is what he's saying. He will get out of the way. But he's not a traitor. No, he's not a traitor.
Wow.
We're dealing here with political rivals, not with enemies. We're part of one nation, of the same nation.
Wow. Look, Israelis haven't seen this even in the chat.
Yes.
Okay,
and this is the father of Yair Lapid, who is now a center-left or left, depending on who you ask, politician. His father was a centrist party leader as well. and this is from an interview after the murder of Rabin.
Look,
Well, we don't need
Samantha is saying.
to. I never saw that.
Samantha?
There we go. So that's because I the first time I saw it, I was shocked as well, and that was part of my journey of. So I used to be center left, I would say, but very staunchly center left, and a lot of people just don't know what the facts that the other side has, like the facts that they're operating from. Okay, so this is Lapid's father, Tomi Lapid. Bibi says one thing and acts the other way. Unless you mean to say that he murdered Rabin himself, the claim is that he incited to violence. And so the claim is about what he said. And so he might say one thing and act another way, but unless that acting another way is literally murdering Rabin, then this is a huge blow to the claim that he knowingly incited.
Yeah, so Amir is saying, Armin, it's like, I won't say he's a traitor, just my minions will say it for me. But his so-called minions, like, it wasn't encouraged. Like, there's no evidence that it was encouraged by Bibi. Like, Bibi is responsible for what Bibi does. So what is the accusation? I mean, what is the accusation against?
These so-called minions didn't exist at the time. This is what he's talking about is what's called shofarot, the people who toe the Likud line. And by the way, the other side also has a line that they toe. It's very clearly like I'll try to get evidence for this. But the people who speak now on behalf of Netanyahu don't speak on behalf of Netanyahu. They speak on behalf of themselves, and they also highly support Netanyahu, and they also criticize Netanyahu when they think it's warranted. If you listen to Bardugo and Inon Magal, beyond what you're being shown on like feeds, just watching their shows, you'd see a lot of criticism of Netanyahu and tacit, like, conditional support. If this happens, then it's okay, but if it doesn't, then it's not. Yeah, the other part of the video is essentially Lapid's father saying, listen, there's no way to claim that Netanyahu incited murder, but it's not that worth getting into.
All right, we need to go. Is it in 2 minutes? So
one thing, because one thing that one of the reasons that I'm not a supporter of Netanyahu is what happened today. So today they chose the new comptroller, which is the person who's in charge of criticizing the government, and they had the option of selecting a great person who used to be in the Supreme Court, but he was the right-wing Supreme Court justice that all the left-wingers were afraid of him becoming the head of the Supreme Court, and he's representative of what Likud claims that they wanted from the judicial reform. And instead, they chose Netanyahu's personal lawyer, Netanyahu and Likud's personal lawyer, and they worked overtime to get him instead of that person. And that's very much a self-serving move in there. I don't see a way of interpreting it otherwise. If someone has an interpretation, I'm open to hearing it. But it's
so that's a level of detail that we could get into later regarding these more nuanced, criticisms and discussions. So we'll get to that. That's interesting. Anything else you want to add? Because I need to go get ready for Iran Revolution Live.
I think
you go.
Like, we didn't talk about the East or the current affairs. We didn't really talk about that, but we can talk about that next time. Okay, and also, Guy, you can go live anytime you want on using StreamYard on both channels. I just need to show you how to work with the scenes whenever you want to share something. But it's pretty self-explanatory. I think I got it.
No, not really, because not really. You don't change the layouts, change the scenes.
Oh,
okay. Because if you change the layout, every scene has its own layout, and we should keep the layouts for every scene. The scenes are at the left.
Okay, so you show me at some point.
Okay. Yes. The rule is don't change the layouts as much as possible. Change the scenes, but I'll tell you how to do that. Right. Okay. But feel free to just go live even when I'm like on my Persian show, or like, you could basically come and just make sure that when you're live streaming on both your channel and Liberty Politics, every once in a while you tell people that you're about your channel, and for them to go subscribe to it from Liberty Politics to your channel. Okay.
Yeah. So let's do that
Cool.
now, and then we'll end. So again,
Okay,
guys,
yeah.
subscribe to my channel. So you're gonna be in charge of changing. Oh, this is.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
my channel, subscribe. I'll be going live with Armin, but also without Armin, and also be uploading videos about Israel, trying to explain the situation as best as I can.
okay, and every time you go live on Liberty Politics, just tell me to send you the collab link, so that when people see the video on Liberty Politics, when they see that, they see the subscribe button to your channel as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. And guys,
Right.
I put the link one more time in the chat. Actually, let me see how many subscribers you have now. It's growing. Okay, we're almost 180. One more to 180. Okay, guys, we're trying to get to 1,000, so we're getting there. That's nice. All right, guys, I need to go get it. Let us know in the comments. Was this helpful? This is. Let us know in the comments in the chat. I think like this channel is supposed to get into discussion of politics at a deeper level compared to where you see elsewhere. So we're trying to find the best people that have deep insider knowledge regarding each country. So now we are covering Iran with me and Ellie. We're covering Israel with Guy. We're going to cover, and Guy also could, in the discussion group, Guy, you could also identify people who you like, who you want to bring on the show to talk to, or other guests from other places, right? So and then we're going to have somebody for the UK, and like next one we need to focus on US. We need to find somebody who's good with US politics because of the elections and the midterms and everything that is coming up. And yeah, UK, US, Israel, Iran, and then eventually we'll do all the other countries. All the countries. We get all the countries. And yeah, guys, people are look at this. People are saying happy. People are saying great job, Guy. Thanks, Guy. It was good. People are happy. Okay, fantastic. All right, guys. So yeah, I'm gonna go get ready for the next show for Iran Revolution Live. You could watch it here or on Goldie's channel. If you watch it here, it really helps our channel grow. Goldie said that it's
watch it here.
Yeah,
watch it here.
No, yeah, Goldie said it's okay for me to say that because she wants to help my channel grow as well. All right, guys, and until next show, I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukrainian, long live America, Javid Shah, Pie and Iran. See you guys soon. Bye.